Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Heaping Spoonful. I'm Kelly Bass, your host, and our goal with this podcast is to share the stories of the Mid-South's top chefs and restaurateurs with our listeners. Covering the restaurant scene is something I've done more on than off, for almost 40 years. Yes, I'm old. Most of that time was spent writing restaurant reviews for Little Rock, Arkansas newspapers and magazines. Long before the internet was a thing, long before anybody who gets on Yelp or TripAdvisor is a bona fide quote-unquote restaurant reviewer. And I know everybody deals with those folks and what they think about your place, because usually they don't write anything unless they love it or they hate it. No in-betweens. And now, though, instead of writing about it, thanks to the folks at Benny Keith Food, I'm a podcaster. And let me tell you, I like talking about restaurants and the people who make them great a lot more than I like writing about them. Today, I am very happy to welcome Tamsye Nosal and Melody Williford, sisters who own and operate American Pie, which is a 3-restaurant group that makes and serves wonderful pizza and a whole bunch more of that in Little Rock and North Little Rock, Arkansas. So welcome, Tamsye and Melody.
Hello.
Hi, Kelly. Thank you for having us.
I'm glad you're here. I will tell you, in an industry that chews up and spits out restaurateurs and their restaurants all the time, American Pie has not just survived, it has thrived for a long time. It's thrived since you opened your first location, which is on Maumelle Boulevard. I think about that as Maumelle. It's technically in North Little Rock. In 2004, so we're 18 years in. What, if you just named a couple of things, what would you say that the fact that you've been that successful for that long, what do you credit that to?
Definitely our employees and our customers. We have great customers, too.
And I guess the food fits in there somewhere, too.
And the quality of our product, obviously, yes. But without our customers and our employees that take very good care of us, we wouldn't still be here. So, yeah. But, they put out a good product day in, day out, and that's very important, consistency.
Yeah, I can vouch, and I'll confess more on that later. So here you are, you opened your restaurant in 2004, and y'all are hustling and doing good. And for those who are familiar with the area, Maumelle Boulevard was not quite as grown up in 2004 as it is in 2022. Now, it wasn't ghost land out there, but it was not what it is now. And only 2 years in 2006, you all added restaurant American Pie number 2, which is in the North Hills Shopping Center. It's in a busy and well-traveled part of North Little Rock. How did you all decide so quickly to double up and have 2?
Well, everything was going well, obviously, with the first one. Otherwise,
right.
We wouldn't jump in for the second one. And we just, we saw that we were able to expand our footprint, and that the opportunity to go over to the North Hills location was there. We had looked at it before we opened the one in Maumelle, and we chose Maumelle because we just saw the potential of where Maumelle would go.
Right.
And that building at North Hills had stayed empty. It had been empty from the time we opened. It was still empty. And we said, I think we can do this. I think we've got enough people. We've got enough, we're both North Little Rock people. We've been around for a long time. We know a lot of people in this area. I think we can make a go of it. And I think it's been very successful. So
well, and you already knew how to make all the things that you make, and so I've talked to lots of folks who say that second one, you already learned a lot of lessons along the way. And you also, again, from more of a business perspective, you can consolidate, ordering and payroll and, those kinds of things that if you just have one location is a little bit different. So y'all are a two-headed monster, so to speak, and I mean that in the kindest way. Nothing monstrous about you. So again, you both ran and worked at the Maumelle Boulevard location for the first 2 years, and then I know you're comfortable flip-flopping as you need to and covering for one another. But I guess it's safe to say that after a while, you kind of settled into on a normal day-to-day basis. Melody, you're generally at North Hills, and Tamsye, you're generally at Maumelle Boulevard.
Right.
Is that just kind of how it panned out?
Yes, I think we just both got tired of going back and forth, and we loved our employees at each one, but we loved our customers at each one, but it seemed like it was just easier for us to settle into one.
Yeah, because I guess, what are they like? Maybe you would know for sure. What are they, 7, 8, 10 miles apart?
I think it's 11.
11. Okay. Well, my top end wasn't too far. And so you said, Melody, that location at North Hills had been empty for a couple of years. So that surprises me, because that's a pretty bustling center there. But of course, what had been in there before? Had it been a restaurant or not?
No, it was an empty shell. It had never been anything.
Oh, okay. So it had never been anything.
Yeah.
So you all were able to come in there and just make it the way you wanted to make it.
Exactly.
And what about Maumelle? You all built that building, right?
We sure did.
Okay. So you got to, again, you got to build it the way you wanted to build it. So we're recording this episode of Heaping Spoonful in mid-June of 2022. We hope people are listening for decades and all around the world, if not the universe. If my math's correct, that means you've each spent 18 years as owners of American Pie. So that's 36 years total. But on your website, it says you have a combined 60 years in the pizza business. So what makes up that other double-digit decades of pizza experience? What did you all do in the pizza world before you owned your spots?
In 1983, I started working at U.S. Pizza down in Levy, the old Levy.
Yeah.
And I started down there in 1986.
Okay.
In the old Levy.
So
Where was it in Levy at that point? It wasn't under the bridge, was it?
Yes.
Oh, so that's like the original, right?
yeah, over there where the Bostovich is.
Yeah. Wow, cool. Yeah. So you all worked there in front of house or back of house or both? Or
Both.
Both. Yeah, back then, I mean, we had 10 tables, and there was just enough for 3 people to work at once, and you did everything.
Yeah, so you made pizzas and you served pizzas and you cashed people out and all that stuff.
Everything.
Well, for those who are listening elsewhere and don't know about U.S. Pizza, it turned into a major and continues to be a major force in the restaurant world in Central Arkansas. And what a great place to learn, Judy Waller and her team. I mean, I'm sure a lot of lessons well learned there. So that's cool. So then you must have liked it and been good at it. I mean, because you did it for a good while, right?
Loved it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when the opportunity presented itself, and so that's when we went out on our own and
Sure.
opened American Pies.
Well, and again, that's a recurring theme in this is people who learn the ropes and said, I really want to do this for myself. That's cool because you're both college graduates. I think if I read right, music education for Tamsye,
Yes.
and psychology for Melody. But I'm an English major, and I'm not sure that I didn't certainly pursue teaching English or do anything like that. Did you all do anything other career related, or has it just been pizza since you got out of school or when you were still in school?
I didn't do anything with it. I went through my student teaching, and I was working for Judy at U.S. Pizza at the time, and I did the student teaching, and I said, no, this is not for me. Went to, and Judy said, well, how about running, I don't remember, Rodney Parham, I think.
Yeah.
How about doing that? And I said, okay.
Yeah.
So
Melody, how about you?
Well, I've been in the pizza business mostly. I mean, I did a few other things. I did a little banking and stuff. But psychology, you think about it, it's something that you can use day in, day out as far as talking to people and everything else. So
But
I know there's people that say that, but no, I never worked in the psychology industry except for dealing with people, which, that's where you are in the people business. So.
my wife was a psychology major, and she ended up in HR, which, you do a lot of
there again,
yeah,
in the people
exactly.
business.
People stuff. Well, that's cool. So y'all have had pizza in your blood for a very long time. So let's fast forward just a few years. In 2010, so you've had one American Pie for 6 years. You've had the North Hills location for 4 years. And you went across the river and you opened on Colonel Glenn Road, just a little bit east of Interstate 430, across from Landers. I mean, there's just anybody who knows Little Rock, that's a booming intersection. I mean, you've got all sorts of, at one point you had a whole Clear Channel, now iHeartRadio complex there. You got all the car dealerships, you got the movie theaters, I go to Tractor Supply out there, all kinds of stuff. So how did that come to be? How did you all decide to do that and just open a third spot and then find that location?
Well, we just, there again, it was another opportunity, and the area was far enough away from the other 2 restaurants that we felt like we had another market out there.
Sure.
So we, that like you said, that area is really good, and Landers helped, Clear Channel. I mean, Donna Terrell we used to see her almost every day,
She's an anchor for Fox 16, if you don't.
I mean, so we I can't remember the weatherman's name at the time, but I mean,
Sure.
So we had a lot of, people that were like, yeah, we love this place. So we just saw an opportunity and a good place to go.
And by that point, you had enough brand recognition and brand equity that people knew about American Pie, which, that's great. But you're right. All three of them are far enough apart that you can cultivate your own, each individually. Not that I've been to all three, but again, because I was out that way and I'm like, I knew it was there, but I was like, I'm going to eat American Pie. I know I like American Pie. And the lunch business around there with all those workers has to be great too. So is that something and you mentioned to me in our discussions before this, that you've got general managers that run each of the three, that are in charge of each of the three besides you all. Same thing, do you go to Colonel Glenn when you need to be at Colonel Glenn or just the same way you do for the other two?
Yeah, I mean, if we need to go out there, we're there. But, Elizabeth Sipes, she's the one that runs that store out there, does a great job.
She does a great job, yeah.
She came from the North Hill store.
Super.
And she's also U.S. Pizza in the past.
Okay.
But she does a great job. I really don't have to worry about Liz at all.
Oh, isn't that
whatsoever.
Great?
And then we've got
Sandy Martin over at Maumelle. Don't have to worry about her at all. She's awesome. She keeps me on my toes. So.
Right.
Right, and our newest general manager at North Hills, and she's the youngest, is Megan Strayhorn, and she's just she's done pizza with Marco's and some other places, and she's one of those who just jumps right in there and just does such a good job, especially developing our younger kids and stuff.
Yeah, that's great, and I know you rest easy knowing you got a good hand, or more than that, but you got a leader at each of your spots, so that when you have to do things like go record Heaping Spoonful episodes, you don't have to worry about anything. That's great. No restaurants have survived as long as yours without serving outstanding food, and we talked about that earlier. And we're going to dig into that in just a bit. But I'm taking, again, and knowing what I know, but also reading on your website. I mean, you guys have really put an emphasis on building a family atmosphere among the staff at your restaurants. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because when I ask you why you're successful, the first thing that came out of your mouth was your staff. Did you all is that something you bought in? Of course, you worked in the restaurant business, so I guess you knew the value of really forming a cohesive team.
It's funny because when we first opened it, a lot started with our kids. Our kids were young enough. They were
your own kids.
Yes, our own kids were
Right.
working in there, and then we had their friends come in, and
sure.
And it kind of built on that, I feel like. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why we still have a lot of base with the high schools and stuff, because it kind of grew from that and just kept going on.
Sure. And, word of mouth of people like, hey, you're looking for a job. This is a good place to work. They take care of you and you have cool customers and the food's good, which never hurts.
But we're real big into our family. It's like yesterday I got a picture from from a customer of her little granddaughter eating at American Pie. So she had to share that with me. But all three of her kids have worked for us in the past. She still has one that still works for us. But it's not only we bring them in and they're part of our family, but a lot of times we give whole families that come and work for us. So
sure.
And we love them. We love on them, and they know it. They got a problem. They know where to go. They know they can come talk to us.
And it's so important in these days because we all know that the difficulty some, if not all places have just in attracting and retaining talent. It's a competitive market out there and there's opportunities, but that atmosphere that you build there and that camaraderie you build there, I know that's paid off for you. And obviously you didn't go into it like, well, maybe one of these days this is going to help us out. That's the way you treat people. And having your own kids being there and then their friends, it really builds. And I think at this point in Heaping Spoonful, it's time that I come clean about something just for full transparency's sake, because there are lots and lots of Heaping Spoonful guests whose restaurants I have not been to because they're not in Little Rock area. But for more than a few years, I spent a lot of time at American Pie on Maumelle Boulevard. I kept coming back because I loved it, of course, but there's also the fact I was the managing partner of a liquor store just down the road from American Pie. That was a 12-year side hustle. That was a lot more time-consuming and, frankly, nerve-wracking than my Heaping Spoonful side hustle. But in the time I spent there, it wasn't hard to feel that family atmosphere at work. I knew your folks by name, And we even had cool, like, caricature pictures of them above the bar. And I mean, and I knew all those folks. I knew Casey. I knew Kyle. I mean, they've gone on to, I'm sure, other bigger and better things.
Bigger and better things, but
yeah,
awesome.
and it was just, it was so cool. There was even back in the day, your fabulous spicy chicken cheese dip was named for Kyle.
Yes.
You know, so that just, again, that struck me. And I think, you know, that was the first thing that came out of y'all's mouths when you talked about the reason that you've been so good for so long. So, listen, we're going to take a break here on Heaping Spoonful. We'll be back in just a bit with Tamsye Nosal and Melody Williford. They are sisters, and they own and operate 3 American Pie restaurants in Little Rock and North Little Rock, Arkansas. So we'll be right back.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Kelly Bass.
Thanks, everybody. Welcome back to Heaping Spoonful. Let's now continue our conversation with Tamsye and Melody. Pizza is undoubtedly one of the most popular foods there is, but it varies a lot. On the more sparse end, particularly recently, because I'm checking it all out, you know, you have the Neapolitan style in the brick ovens, and they cook them, you know, in 5 minutes at 700 degrees, and they're generally crispy, if not blackened on the bottom crust, and a little sparser on ingredients. And, you know, here in Central Arkansas, you'll see that at Zaza or the Pizzeria, and then Raduno down in South Maine, just to name a few. And then on the heavier ends, I mean, not even counting your Chicago style with all the tomato sauce on top, but I've been a glutton for Shotgun Dan's pizza over the years, and I swear when we order a Supreme and I grab the box to go out, it weighs like 47 pounds, and I'm sure it's got 4 million calories, but that's a different thing. So I would say American Pie is more in the middle. I mean, and hand-tossed, I mean, of course you have crust options, but would you think that's safe to say? I mean, it's got plenty of ingredients on it, but it's not just like a big old bomb.
Right, and we just do the thin crust. So we
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. But there's plenty of stuff on it.
Oh, sure.
But
Our crust is considered a cracker crust.
Okay.
And I don't mean it's a cracker, but it means that it's crispy.
Right.
But it's not overly crisp. So when you hold it up, it's not going to fall down.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's the difference.
But again, it's not ingredient shy by any means. I mean, you all put a lot of good cheese on and everything. So your pizza menu is huge. I mean, you've got 13 specialty pizza choices, including 2, and I like the way your menu is. You've got 2 that are set out with a box around the description. You got the Supreme and you got the Hog Wild. Are those 2, do they get their box because they're 2 of the more popular ones, or does it just look good on a menu?
They are 2 of the more popular ones. I mean, we have, you know, especially for our meat people.
Yeah.
And then on the other end that's very popular is our spicy vegetable, and our margaritas, which is on the other end. If I'm feeding women, I'm going to make sure and put one of those on there. If I'm feeding men, I'm going to put on that Hog Wild.
Yeah, and the Hog Wild
Exactly right.
has got the hog name in there for a reason because it's sausage, but there's also bacon on it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's all pork.
And all pork. Okay, good. And it's not a bad idea in a state that loves the Razorbacks like we do that we have the Hog Wild too.
And now you can get it on a cauliflower crust, which is awesome.
I have a friend that Rusty Matz's wife, Stacy, eats on cauliflower crust because she's gluten-free, but she likes the cauliflower crust more than the gluten-free crust, you know. But yeah, and I see those in the stores. That's a great way, again, for people who either want to cut back a little bit or don't do well with gluten, for sure. And then I see Ed and Stu's barbecue pizza. So who are Ed and Stu? Tell us about that pizza.
Stu is my stepson.
Okay, cool.
And he was working for us in high school. Eddie, was one of his really good friends in high school. So they came up with this pizza, and it's kind of like, you know, if you come up with something, at least for a while, you're going to have your name on it.
Yeah.
We've got Kyle's chicken cheese dip.
Right.
Sometimes we'll drop the name, but we still love Kyle to death.
Sure. But so Ed and Stu came up with the pizza while they were working there.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't remember, is it, what, is there meat on it? Is it chicken or is it?
It is, it's chicken.
Yeah, so it's kind of a barbecue chicken-y pizza. Well, good for Ed and Stu. Do most people who want pizza pick one of those specialty pies, or do you have a lot more create-your-own type customers?
Well, we have a lot of both, I think. A lot of both.
I guess people get set in their ways. So,
Of course, the most popular ingredient is still pepperoni.
oh yeah, I've
Always.
I've ordered pizza for events, and it's like you better go ahead and double up on the pepperonis because that's what's gonna
Right.
They're gonna roll through. Yeah. And again, if you hadn't been to American Pie and you got a specific way you want pizza, go there because they've got all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm going to make a little jokes on a couple of them. But you got 13 meats, including my favorite meat of all, eggs. Now, I guess if you're going to put eggs on meat side or the vegetable side, you got to do meat because it comes out of a chicken. So that's more than a vegetable. And then you got 19 vegetables. And again, gets a little wild. Got a little walnuts and dried cranberries. I'm sure nobody gets a large egg and walnut pizza, but I guess they could if they wanted to. I guess you got that many ingredients because you've had requests for them, and some people order them.
We have a great customer that orders walnuts and red cabbage on his pizza all the time.
But, our thoughts were always anything that we can put on a salad, which we have very good salads,
Right.
Yes, you
or
do.
a sandwich or whatever you can put on a pizza. You can put anything on a pizza.
Well, yeah.
So our thoughts were, hey, if you want it,
Offer it for anything.
we'll do it for you.
Well,
You know-
sure.
They got those new pizza places that go build your own. And I'm like, pizzas has always been build your own. I mean, I think that's one of the why people love it,
Right.
And I can get half this and half that, and everybody's happy.
I've
or
done it,
you can get the
right.
little personal size. I mean, you can do whatever to make everybody
What you
happy.
want.
Yeah.
Well, that's a point I hadn't thought about that. But you got some dried cranberries and walnuts are there to put on your salads. You want them on a pizza? I'll put them on a pizza. Not
Right.
for sure.
And walnuts is really very good on a pizza. I have
I
a
could
friend
see
that
that.
she orders walnuts on
It's
her
like
pizza.
roasted.
Yeah, I could see that. I still argue with my wife about pineapple on pizza. I'm just not into it, but
I
it's
love
okay.
pineapple.
A lot of
Pineapple's
people do.
good.
I like pretty most everything, but I'm kind of a sausage, onion, and mushroom kind of guy myself, Italian sausage. But I've certainly eaten more. So same thing, you give some choices on cheese. I mean, mozzarella is the standard in the pizza world, but you got cheddar, and I've seen that on pizzas, provolone, pepper jack, and feta. So I guess people get feta on their egg and walnut pizzas. Ha ha.
We've got several specialty pizzas that will have, like our Southwest Chicken has almost every one of those
Yeah.
cheeses on it.
Right.
Everything but provolone. But people love provolone, so we get a lot of people that. There again, it goes back to that we have it on something else. So
Got it for a sandwich, you might as well.
So you might as well.
do
If
it.
you want
Yeah.
it, you want it. But the feta's, it's you don't do a feta pizza by itself, no.
But it's a nice
But
little,
it's a nice thing to add with the cheese.
yeah,
with
and
the regular
it's got a nice
mozzarella.
little sharp taste to it. I've had it plenty on salads, and it's great. So you are American Pie, which plays off the nickname of pizza, which is pie. It also plays off the number one Don McLean hit from my youth, 50 plus years ago. But again, looking at your menu, and it's got enough variety. You could be American sandwich, you could be American pasta, you could be American salad. We just talked about it. And you could even be American wings because you got selections in all those categories, including 11 sandwiches. I mean, is pizza by far your biggest seller, or do you have plenty of sandwich and salad people?
A lot of salad people. And don't forget our calzones. Also.
I saw your calzone. You all make those, yeah.
Yeah, and those have become very popular. I've got a lady that comes in every Friday, and she's got all her friends now ordering calzone. She orders an extra one just to take home with her because
Yeah.
she likes it that much. So.
Yeah, I need to try one because I don't know that they either weren't on the menu or I was so fixated on the pizzas and other stuff that I didn't get to them. But yeah, and I guess you put anything in there that you put on a pizza.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Just as you highlight two pizzas with the box around the menu description, you do the same with the sub, the chicken jack, and the Freddy. Tell us about the Freddy. Is Freddy I don't know if Freddy's a him or a her. Is that one of your customers or workers? And tell me about that sandwich.
Freddie is a part of our heart.
Oh,
Fred worked for us when he was the general manager at the Lakewood store when it opened. And Fred had worked at Sirloin's Inn for years and years.
great place.
So he came over to work for us. We were thrilled to death. His boys have worked there. Still wonderful friends with his wife. But he passed away.
Oh,
And all he wanted was to get that Italian sausage sandwich on the menu because he was from the north.
yes.
So we said, you know what? It's going to be called the Freddy, and that's what we're going to do.
So it's Italian sausage.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, I spent part of a summer in New Hampshire, and there was a place right down the street that had the best sausage grinders. And I back in those days, I was 14, And you dressed up to get on the airplane. So when I flew up there, my pants fit just fine. After some sausage grinders for 6 weeks, man, they were tight coming home. But that's great. Well, that's a great tribute to Freddie, and I'm glad he got it on there. And boy, Sirloin's Inn, we could have a whole episode on Sirloin's Inn from people who work there because it's a great place. So since I was in true confession mode earlier, talking about my time at the Maumelle Boulevard original American Pie, I must also admit that while there was plenty of eating by myself and people in my party, we might have done a little drinking too. I have enjoyed many a cold draft beer at the bar there. You had a nice array of beers before that was nearly as prevalent as it is now. I mean, in 2006, 7, 8, no, we got into that. Yeah, because we got into the liquor store in 2005, and y'all had been open about a year, a little more than a year at that point. And getting a Diamond Bear Pale Ale was a big thing for us, because and cold mugs and cold beer.
We still have it.
Yeah, good. So I got out of the liquor store business in 2017, so my treks down Maumelle Boulevard are not nearly as frequent. But I see in 2018, and you had told me this, Tamsye, that y'all added a full bar at that location. And now is that when you say full bar, does that just mean the products, or did you actually build out a different bar for that?
We took over the end of the restaurant.
Okay.
Which there was a space we had been renting out for years.
Oh, that's on. So yeah, the end away from where our liquor store was.
Yeah, so it was a barber shop last.
Yeah.
And so we just cut in a wall. We have a hallway. We just totally redid the party room to where it's still there.
Okay.
And then there's the bar. And it's absolutely fabulous. We have great new customers from that and making new friends.
And I guess you can eat in there too?
You can eat in there too, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's neat. Well, of course, you had the space, which makes it a more logical decision than if you just had to take over part of your seating for your restaurant. Have there been thoughts about doing that at North Hills and Colonel Glenn, or is it more of a space thing?
We've given thoughts to it, and we may eventually. Colonel Glenn, I doubt it because there's just no space there.
Yeah.
But it's something. Yes, we're definitely taking into consideration. Never say never.
Well, I popped out there and went to the Count Porcula, which has gone in not too far at all from where you are, and then Cypress Socials, the former Cock of the Walk, is rocking. So. And now that we've done this podcast, I owe it to myself to come out to American Pie on Maumelle Boulevard and check out the bar. So
it's beautiful.
I may go directly from here to there.
There you go.
Well, listen, I appreciate you, Tamsye and Melody, for being our guest today on Heaping Spoonful. Best of luck in all you're doing at American Pie. And it won't be too terribly long before y'all are celebrating your 20th anniversary.
Wow.
Because I think y'all opened both of them in January.
Yes.
Yep.
So January of 2024 is a year and a half
We're
off.
not old enough for that.
I know.
No, we're not.
Well, listen, thanks to you all. Thanks also to all of you listening to Heaping Spoonful today. Remember, we post new episodes on the first and third Tuesdays of each month. So please go check out some of the ones you may have missed and keep an eye and an ear out for new ones. Goodbye, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.